Hello there. Hi, how you doing today? I see you actually decided to come back to the show. Good choice. Today we have a very special interview going on, and I mean special. Today I have an interview with Valerie. She runs her own YouTube channel and she's a psychic. Today I talked to her about what her life contains about being a psychic, what how she put it to use in writing her own books and being an artist. And I know this isn't long, but I hope you enjoy this. Any people out there who think they might have the gift, comment down below, and I hope I can help. Subscribe, and I don't know if you have any people or you want to come on, comment down. I hope you enjoy and welcome to Tired Granolla Bar Podcast, people. Namaste. Thanks for saying you're interested in coming on my show. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So before we start, how do you introduce yourself?
So my name is Valerie Fuquay. I am a psychic and a writer and also an artist. You can see one of my paintings in the background right there. and I I have had kind of a strange journey, and being born autistic, apparently that makes you a better psychic. And then I got COVID, which also makes you a better psychic, two times. Uh, And so it's been really crazy. I have gotten tons of past lives back, explored all kinds of stuff, found myself in the middle of a planet. Well, it was on fast forward, and I got to see how the magma levels affected uh, what's it called? The quakes in the planet's crust. It was absolutely amazing. There are so many strange experiences that I've had. And I've only put like a tiny piece of them down into books so I could share them with other people, but there's a lot more that I plan to share.
So what does being a psychic mean to you?
So it mostly just means that you're aware of more than what's here. Uh, I actually found that technically speaking, my abilities break down to a bunch of different categories that also have names, like, for example, telepathy and foresight and astral projection, and technopathy, which is a weird one. And I don't really know how to do anything with it except not make my computers have errors anymore. I got that figured out.
How so?
Well, apparently, I was broadcasting static to any and every electrical system around, and that was causing all these random errors to pop up on any kind of computing system. Weird stuff that nobody's ever seen before.
So when did you first discover that you were a psychic, or like what would you call yourself?
Well, it depends on how you define discovery, because the first time I realized that I was psychic was, I think, 6 years after the first time I noticed that I had done something strange, which was also 13 years after the first time I remember actually using my abilities.
What abilities do you have?
A whole bunch of them. Some of them I never even heard of a name for. Let's see now. The first one I remember using, I was a baby and left in a car seat sitting out on a countertop, and I wanted to know where my mom was because it had been seconds and I hadn't seen anybody, and I was completely alone and starting to really freak out. And I apparently remembered how to access the Akashic records, which told me that she was right on the other side of the wall and everything is fine, so I don't have to freak out. So I just sort of laid back and waited. Now, the memory is only about 4 seconds long. So I have no idea if I freaked out like 10 seconds after that.
Hmm.
But I was at least able to self soothe for 4 seconds. So that's good. Um, then, when I was 7 years old, I remembered noticing that I had deja vu a lot for a 7-year old. Apparently, when I sleep, I dream the future. And then that future moment happens, and I recognize it as deja vu because, of course, I, like everybody else, forget a lot of my dreams.
Is it like far in the future, or like how far do you remember usually?
Varying periods. It'll be very widely varying. The furthest in the future that I've noticed seeing or been able to determine, I should say, when I was, um, let's see, 15, I think, I had a dream about a future son. His name was Brian, and he had brown curly hair. Couldn't remember if his eyes were blue or brown, but I remember everything about him, who he was as a person. He was kind of on the quiet side, really pensive, and thought about things really hard before he did anything. And, he was really kind and gentle, but, he could be stubborn too. And, I found out eventually, that this was actually going to be my future son, one of a twin set, and I never got visions of his brother because Brian was the autistic one,
Hmm.
and I couldn't really see his brother. I had many, 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 many more future experiences with Brian specifically. And then there was also this one time I actually got to see the rest of them. Saw my other son, and he was just a blur, but I could see Brian clearly. And then I saw my future husband, he was a blur too. But then COVID happened and it screwed time up, and suddenly that whole future disappeared. And I ended up crying for several months because
Sorry,
I literally lost my entire family.
sorry to hear about that.
Thank you. Yeah, but I mean, that was many, many years because, it was no, I'm sorry, it was 17 years from when I first started seeing Brian to when COVID happened and totally messed it all up. And there was still several more years to go before I would actually meet my future husband who would then give me Brian.
Did it take you a long time to kind like in a sense like master being a psychic?
I still haven't mastered it. There's a lot that I can do, but there's a lot that I can't do. Um, so it has taken me a long time to get good at certain things. Other things I'm still not good at yet. So, for example, I can have a vision anytime I want to. The thing is that it can take several tries to actually get a vision, and there are certain things that I can't get visions of. So I kind of have to try multiple things before I get something.
How have you progressed over time? Like since you kind of realized you have something going.
So, when I was a kid, I was actually an atheist, and I found over time more and more I couldn't keep denying what I was experiencing has a lot of tie-ins with religion. It's not like the same or anything. It's sort of like a fictional story based on reality kind of a deal. But more and more, I have been realizing that I need to accept the fact that all of that stuff is based on something real that's out there. And I've also realized that I need to let go of my need to understand these scientific principles behind everything that I do. Because once I did let go of that and just trust that, well, if it works, then it must have a scientific basis. um, and since then, I've been able to do some really amazing things. It was holding me back having to understand the science behind everything before actually trying it, because the science here on Earth is so rudimentary compared to what I'm getting into.
So kind of learning that you have this gift, you kind of
Mhm.
learned you're not you have to kind of think open more. Like
Uh-huh.
Christianity, religion might be not as fake as you thought it was.
Religion, magic, science, it's all trying to describe the same thing in different pieces and different ways.
How do you mean?
Well, I mean, I have actually noticed commonalities between religion and what I'm learning about, between magic and what I'm learning about, and between science and what I'm learning about. And they all seem to try and describe this thing in different ways, in ways that seem like they are competing against each other, but mostly because we don't fully understand what it is we're trying to describe. And
Psychic
because they each pick and choose the evidence they're basing their descriptions on.
is being psychic something you learned, or is it like something you can just be born with?
It's both. It's like intelligence. You learn to use your intelligence. Everyone has some of it in some degree, some have more than others, and everybody can learn how to expand what they've got. I got a major boost after I got COVID the first time, and then it got even worse after the second time. Speaking of COVID, I just want to say news from the other side. I found out that COVID is different from every other bug. It's basically, it's like the constructs I've been learning how to make. You can create things out of energy, the same as you can create things out of uh, matter, like a computer created out of energy. And so the vaccine is a computer that somebody whacked to death or half to death. So it's not actually working properly. And that's why it does weird things and kind of hurts people.
Hmm.
I do not recommend getting it because it can do a lot of crazy things and it may not be good for you.
The COVID vaccine or COVID itself?
Yeah, the COVID vaccine. COVID itself also can do some pretty awful stuff because one of the things it was supposed to do is make you want to leave here.
How did you learn this? Just like from hearing it, or like did somebody tell you, or
So I have the ability to access what is apparently called the Akashic records. The Akashic records are supposed to be all knowledge. I have learned it's actually all knowledge, past, present, and future, ever known, everywhere.
so?
And it's sort of like the internet for your brain, and you can literally Google anything you want to. Just on a lark, I actually Googled warp drives, and there is something there. It's just that our planet is denied that access.
Your mind is just a whole is just able to look up anything, like anything spiritually in the world.
Literally anything. That's actually one of the reasons why I've been able to get as far as I have with my abilities, because whenever I come up with a new idea of something to do, I actually check the Akashic records and say, how do I do this? What are the steps? And then I follow them. I do also check with the Akashic records to run simulations just to see all of the different ways it can go wrong and hurt somebody too, to make sure that when I first do it for real, I'm not actually hurting anybody. So it's actually usually several months to a couple of years of actually working on and designing an ability before I actually try it for real. Most of the time, I use the simulation that the Akashic records allow because it's basically like a giant computer. I use the simulation to run all of these different um, situations to check on it and verify the design before I try it.
Is that kind of how you got into like painting? And you said you made your own book. Like, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, I actually do use my abilities for writing my books and also for painting things. I've found that I have a significantly improved skill level by doing this. I also have found that my stories are better because they're not completely written by me.
Hello there. Thank you for watching as far as you got. And if you want to see some more of my content, check out my other channel, Ronic1012, which is always down in the description of my videos. So whatever you look at, you'll find it down there. Check it out, and I would love for you to check out my other content where I mostly post my videos from school and like my TikToks and stuff like that. It's always a pleasure having you. Enjoy the rest of the video. Who are the other people who wrote them?
When I want to write a fictional story, I usually look for a fictional story that is about whatever it is that I want to write about. And then I find it on the other side. And it's usually kind of like based on that because I am not that great at pulling details from the other side. There is a lot of information that's lost when I do that because it is so overwhelming to get a download from the other side. The language that it's in, can contain a hell of a lot more information than human brains are actually built to handle. Not only that, but it's in a language that you can't actually speak.
Are these stories plural, or are you just like are you writing another book?
Oh, so I'm actually a chaotic author, not a linear author. And I have like a little cluster of five that I'm really focusing on.
Oh, I get that. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
I can say I'm the same thing. Yeah.
Exactly. It's pretty common when you have autism or ADHD or any of those other neurodiverse things.
How would you say your life is different from like a normal person?
Literally in every way. I mean, I may be the same species, but that is about where the line ends. So, there is almost nothing else that I really have in common with other people. I can find like 2 or 3 points of commonality between me and any other person I happen to meet, usually because they just happen to have an interest that's tangentially close to mine, and beyond that, not much. Uh, I feel like an alien living on this planet. I am built for non-corporeal life, which means literally everything here is weird and wrong, and I don't like it. Having a body that is just like on you all the time, and the skin, it keeps feeling and doing things, and there's these twitches all over the place and stuff. It keeps talking to you constantly. I mean, you've got five senses, which are way too many. I mean, one is great, two, you're kind of pushing it, but five, seriously? No, thank you. I mean, seriously, this is way too much. I'm accustomed to one. When you're on the other side, you have one, and it's kind of this muddy thing that is including all of the five separate ones we have here. Plus, it has a whole lot of other stuff too. And it's not like shouting at you constantly because, well, actually, I think it's because you have the ability to process all of that. Here you have a teeny tiny little human brain, and I'm already constantly overwhelmed by what I'm getting from the other side.
Mm.
The rest of this is too much.
Does that mean you're proud to like openly tell people you're a psychic or you can see the other side?
So I try, out of respect for other people and their beliefs and the fact that they get kind of weird about the whole psychic thing, I try not to throw it in their faces very much. But yes, I am proud and very open about it. Anybody who wants to talk about it, yeah, sure, no problem. Because I understand that I'm basically living in a, well, in a society that doesn't necessarily know everything that's going on. And I have contact with another society that knows everything that's going on. And so I've been able to reach a level of comfort with the fact that I just happen to be living with the people who are a little bit behind. It's kind of hard not to be. I mean, they're ahead of everybody.
Is it I probably asked this before, but is there a way people can like learn to get in touch with the other side?
Lots
Like,
of them. So many. There are a bunch of people here on Earth who actually know how to contact the other side. There are even more people who kind of have an idea of how to contact the other side. There are more people who have this vague memory of how to do it themselves instinctually, which, by the way, is common for autism. Also, anybody who ever got on the show, The Ghost Inside My Child, probably is one of those people you should talk to because they are connected to the other side in some way. That's why they were having all these weird issues and the past lives that they remembered. Um, and, there are also other side resources that a person can use to help learn how to do things. Generally speaking, I say do your best to let go of all of your expectations and listen to that quiet voice inside your mind that seems to come to conclusions before you even understand what's going on. Because that is your spirit guide and your first link to the other side.
how has your view on life changed since you got into this line of work?
It has gone from microscopic to macroscopic a lot. And I've been able to resolve a lot of the issues that I had with the world that I'm living in. And it all seems awful and possibly apocalyptic and stuff like that. Since learning how our planet fits into the bigger picture, I realized that it's actually not as bad as everybody thinks it is. In fact, we're currently having a whole lot of uh, turbulence going on in the uh, political, energetic, um, environmental landscape, and all of those other things because the Earth is currently transitioning to something better. I don't know if you ever heard about Sylvia Brown or the Indigo people, but they seem
Oh,
to
yeah.
be pretty dialed in.
Yeah.
All of these people who are amazingly young and yet they are at the forefront of getting things done, like the 7-year-old who started her own soup kitchen, and the guy who is like, I don't know, 20, started a company to clean up the plastic out in the ocean. These are the indigo people. They are here to help us fix this planet and everything that's gone wrong with it so far. And they are here to help us move into the future where everything is better and life doesn't have to suck so bad.
You got to spend some dollars to build things up.
Uh-huh, yes, most definitely. Not only that, but the reason why there's so much strife right now is because you got to break some eggs to make an
Yeah.
omelet. Most definitely, most definitely. Yeah, it's a shakeup for sure. But seriously, if anybody is running into any issues where suddenly their perfect life seems to be falling apart around you, it's probably because there is some old stuff that's been holding you back from better. And you need to let go of that so that you can move on to better. So think about the things that have scared you the most that would probably make you the happiest and just shoot for that because that's probably going to solve your problem.
How does your family feel about you when you talk about a psych and all that?
It's Monday. Pretty much. So this is a normal thing. Although that's just for me and my mom. Uh, we don't actually have contact with the rest of my family because they're either deceased or toxic. My mom, this has been her life since she was a kid. So we've actually been able to help each other out with teaching each other things, new techniques, and helping us to evolve our abilities, and also helping to deliver messages to each other because seriously, it is really hard to get any kind of information from the other side when you have a whole bunch of emotions or chaos going on inside. That's one of the reasons why you hear about all these yogis or whatever. They go to the top of a mountain and they meditate and they get inner peace and then they get their powers.
Do you believe that or do you not believe that?
What, that you have to do that? You
Like
don't
you
have to do
have to go up or like do this whole
no.
spiritual thing.
You can get to inner peace any way you want to. That's just how they do it sometimes because it helps to kind of block out all of noise that other people can create sometimes. And then when I was teenager and just starting to get vocal about the stuff I was going through because it was getting to be so obvious I could not ignore it anymore. And I was going, oh my God, I have superpowers. I've been obsessed with superheroes forever. Thank God. I always wanted to be a superhero. Yeah. I'm telling her about this stuff, and then I find out, oh my God, she's been experiencing this since she was at least 7. My mom and I, we support each other with our abilities because we both have these abilities. We're both fully aware of the fact that, we're just here on this planet to learn and experience and grow as people. Because that's kind of the whole point of this whole thing. This is basically boarding school.
Boarding
We're
school, what do you
here,
mean by that?
we're from the other side.
Oh.
Everybody is from the other side. And they get born here so that they can have experiences they couldn't have had over there.
Do you wish that you were like, you were biologically born over there?
There is no biological over there. I,
Do you,
I was over there and then I was here. And then I'm going to be back over there again. And then I'm going to come back, but not here. I've decided to transfer to another school. I'm done with banging my head against it. Earth is sort of like Harvard in schools. Oh, yes. That is why life is so damn hard here. it it doesn't feel like it should be because there are places where it isn't. Don't
It's
like it, transfer.
so it's like a before afterlife, and then it kind of goes back and forth, back and forth.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. It's just like with boarding school. When the term ends, you go home, and then the term begins again, and you go back.
And so life is like a term, like you just it's back and forth, back and forth.
Yes, yes. And
Okay.
you learn more and you evolve. And that is why sometimes the kids of people are so much more adult than the parents they were born to because the
Exactly.
kids have been here longer.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Right? Absolutely. That's also why there are some humans who seem to exhibit some rather confusing behavior that actually makes sense in other species. Like, for example, have you ever noticed that some people, when they get mad, they jump around and throw things in the air?
Yeah, like everybody. Yeah.
No, not everybody. Actually, there are a lot of humans who don't jump around and throw papers in the air. That is actually chimpanzee behavior. They jump around and throw leaves in the air as an intimidation to try and win an argument. A
So
lot of humans, they don't do that. And it's actually kind of confusing to see somebody throw papers in the air. You can feel how aggressive it is. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense in humans because it's not typically something that's done. And I mean specifically papers.
so it's like a trait brought over, or like what are you saying?
It's a holdover memory. So out it takes a while to forget how things work in a previous species that you were being born into. And it takes a while to learn the new species. In fact, I have a cat who had a real learning curve with learning how to be a cat because last time she was a dog. And I actually met the person who knew her as a dog because she was his boyhood dog and he recognized her and freaked out and ran away and never came back again. She was absolutely terrified of every person she'd ever met except for him. She went right up to him, put her paws on his knee. Never done that with me. I rescued her.
Hmm.
Yeah. So tried to drink out of a toilet and fell in twice.
Your the dog fell in the toilet twice.
No, the cat tried to drink
Oh,
out of the toilet
okay.
like a dog, nearly fell in twice. She gave up after that.
What about the haters? Like how do you not let the haters get to you?
Oh, well, it helps to look at them a little bit like monkeys who are fighting over a banana. Because I mean, if you think about it, uh, a lot of the haters they exhibit some of the same behavior. You know, they're yelling at people about something that really ultimately doesn't actually help their life any, and uh, they're trying to change other people's opinions about something even though it doesn't actually fix anything that's been going on. Not only that, but they start with a conclusion. It's mine, I want it. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's true.
So it's never been the scientific process.
Absolutely no. That unfortunately, I think is just, humans being humans.
By the time this video is out, it'll be close to like Valentine's Day. I was wondering,
Oh,
how do you
wow.
feel? How do you feel about because it's the time of love and everything. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. So Love and I have a complicated history based on my past life, the very last one. Apparently, I lost my mom, got very angry and depressed about it. I was apparently very young, like somewhere around, I don't know, 7, 10 years old, something like that.
Okay.
And I did not take it well. And I blamed my dad for not saving her, even though I'm pretty sure she was just sick with something. It was the 50s. The men were supposed to be able to do everything. Anyways, and I ended up on self-destruct after that. I threw myself into any liquor bottle, party, or bed that I could until eventually it killed me because I went home with the wrong guy and screwed with him, and then he lost it because his mother was a real piece of work and he started killing people.
This is your past life.
This is the very last past life that happened in the 50s. Well, actually, I died in the 50s. I was probably born in the 40s. But anyways, point is that yeah, I was definitely on self-destruct. I wanted to go home with my mom when she went home.
Mm.
All I know is that I remember that she wanted us to be with her, and I was pissed that I couldn't just go with her. But of course, she was going somewhere I couldn't follow. She died. And I've learned that although that was a very traumatic time for me, in order to actually move on and have real positive relationships, I need to let go of all of that and realize that, you know what, sometimes stuff like this happens. People are inevitably in our lives for a temporary period of time. And the whole point is to enjoy them while they're here, to be happy and glad that they're here, and then to let go and move on and find other people to be in your lives after they leave. And so I am doing my best to let go of the past relationships, even though it hurts, even though it makes me cry, even though it feels like my heart is being wrenched out. And I am hoping that I will be open enough for love when the next one comes through.
Yeah, I hope you do
I
too.
Yeah, thank you. I just got over a breakup I'm still getting over it.
Sorry about that.
But anyways, I just had a breakup earlier this year. It went real bad.
Anyways, like I said, I appreciate
Mhm.
the offer coming on. You get 15 seconds to share what website, company, something from the other side. Anything your heart wants to share.
Well, I did want to actually share that I have written a bunch of books about my experiences on the other side, and I gave you links to those. So if you could post those with that would be great. Thank you very much. Yeah, I also hope to add more about my past lives so that people can see not only how I've used that to learn who I used to be, but also to heal from those traumas and progress into who I want to become.